Welcome all to Off the Cuff, and I am so happy to be here with Mr. Dr. Bharat Vatwani. Dr. Vatwani, it is my delight and my honor to have you on my show.
Thank you very much. My pleasure too.
Thank you so much. And for listeners, Dr. Vatwani is a Mumbai-based psychiatrist and Ramon Magsaysay Award winner in 2018. And this award is the highest honor in Asia and is equal to the Nobel Prize. A lot of people say that. Dr. Vatwani has been recognized for his tremendous courage and healing compassion in embracing India's mentally afflicted destitutes and his dedication to restoring dignity to the most ostracized in our community. He founded the Shradha Rehablitation Foundation along with his wife Dr Smitha Vatwani in 1988.
Yes.
बहुत पहले से आप ये काम कर रहे हैं in India. And this foundation rehabilitates the mentally ill destitutes wandering in the streets in India. And the foundation, if I'm not wrong, has rehabilitated more
10,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
10,000
Plus,
mentally
yeah.
ill. Commendable work. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for giving me this time today. I know you have a very busy schedule in USA. So what brought you to USA, Dr. Vatwani?
Actually, this whole thing came through because I got an invite from the American Psychiatric Association to give a guest lecture talk on the wandering mentally ill and stigma around psychiatry.
Okay.
So that is in New York on the 8th of May. And in between, I've got an invite from Harvard Medical School to give a talk there. And my daughter stays here, so I thought let me put in a visit to San Francisco also.
That is lovely. So, I know I've had the pleasure of talking to you earlier on Zoom also, and we had to learn so much from the way you, have decided to lead your life. You both are doctors, as you know.
Yeah, we are both psychiatrists.
Psychiatrists, yeah. So, what was the trigger point in you where you said, "Oh, this is my life now. I need to give it to, the well-being of mentally destitute."
I think there are two major trigger points. One was on day one when I and my wife were sitting in a restaurant and we came across a guy who was talking to himself across the road and laughing to himself and long hair. So we felt that this guy is wandering mentally ill. And while we were watching him, he suddenly took up an empty coconut shell and dipped it into the gutter water beyond and drank it. And that became a turning point for us. And we got emotionally so moved that we reached out to him and brought him to our nursing home. And in those days, we had a very small fledgling nursing home. And he turned out to be an English-speaking graduate.
Wow.
His father was also English-speaking. The father came down by flight. And we felt at that time then that there is no organization dealing with these kind of patients. And here is a patient who is English-speaking, educated, and the father is English-speaking, educated. And we felt that there was a need to do so. So the joy of the first few reunions resulted in us doing what we were doing.
Wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there are so many of these people on the streets in India, like you were saying, almost 10 lakh are mentally ill and wandering.
Wandering mentally, yeah.
So there is a stigma around mental illness, and I'm sure the work you're doing of rescuing them, rehabilitating, and then reconciling them with the families must be very, very challenging, I have to say.
It is challenging, yes, but vice versa, the emotional satisfaction is very high.
Very true, yeah.
So that motivates the team to continue doing on that path.
तो आप कुछ बताइए, आप कैसे करते हैं श्रद्धा रिहैबिलिटेशन में, कैसे सपोर्ट करते हैं ये, हाउ डू यू कैरी दिस?
पहले हम लोग पेशेंट को रास्ते पर से लेके आते हैं.
हाँ जी.
क्योंकि वो वीक कंडीशन में रहता है, बहुत गया गुजरे कंडीशन में रहता है. उसको ग्लूकोज, उसको अच्छा खाना, उसको विटामिन्स. We try and pep up his general health. Maybe 1 week, 10 days goes just in that. Then after that, gradually we start psychiatric medicines depending upon our assessment of him. We have 4 psychiatrists on board. So one of us evaluates the person and we start the ball rolling. Then धीरे धीरे करके उसकी मानसिक स्थिति जब शुरू होती है तब वो बात करना चालू करता है और हमें पता चलता है कि whether the person is Malayali, whether he's Tamil, whether he's Telugu, whether he's Kannada, whether he's Punjabi, whether he's from UP, Bihar, Assam, Bengal, and then that specific social worker who knows that particular language starts communicating with him.
Okay.
Once that happens, then the patient is more at ease because he feels he's Telugu speaking and the Samnala social worker is also Telugu speaking.
Okay.
And he opens out more and more. Then he starts giving us his detailed address.
Wow.
And कहाँ रहता है, क्या है, कितने सालों से, कौन से स्कूल में गया था, mother, father, भाई बहन कितने हैं, all that he starts saying. Then once we are sure that he's much better, we try and send him back with that same social worker back to the ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful work. Wonderful work.
And during the process of reunion, then there is naturally a lot of curiosity which is there, so a lot of awareness which is generated.
Okay.
All those things are there.
That is a lot of work and a lot of teamwork, I have to
Yeah,
say. Also.
yeah. We are all employed, salaried social workers, and we have around 40 of them.
Okay.
Social workers, hailing from different states of India,
Okay.
who are coming forward so that they are able to interact. We in the year.
कितने स्टेट में है वैसे भी आप? कितने स्टेट्स में आप वर्क आपका?
No, we are reuniting irrespective. He may be from Nagaland
Irrespective
or
of
wherever.
any state.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we are reuniting.
Okay.
We have reunited
Huh.
since the time we started our Karjat Center. We have reunited 121 patients in Nepal.
Oh.
Yeah.
Amazing work, I have to say. And like you're saying, this work is all about the heart.
Yeah.
It's all about the heart. When you started it, it was your emotions that carried you to doing this. So.
नहीं आज तक जो कुछ भी whatever is taking us forward are the emotions.
हाँ.
See you अभी कोविड हाल में आके गई. So after COVID, everybody believes that even if the person has disappeared from the house, he must be dead. 101% he must have succumbed to COVID. After the COVID, suddenly you bring a live, healthy, mentally fit person back to the house.
But to work with these people who have been left, behind by society, trying to bring them up, give them a good, healthy living is commendable, I have to say. I know that your inspirations, I've seen the pictures are Mother Teresa, Baba Amte जी and रविंद्रनाथ. तो उसके बारे में कुछ बताइए कि आप क्या सीख सकते हैं?
ऐसा है, बचपन से मेरा इंटरेस्ट था सोशल फिगर्स में. मैंने काफी कुछ I have read a lot on Mother Teresa, read a lot on Rabindranath Tagore, met Baba Amte personally, and met Prakash Amte personally, read a lot of Vinoba Bhave. So all these things finally try and communicate one single thing, which is that we are living in a society where there is a lot of inequality.
There is, yes.
So you cannot just think of doing good only for yourself. You cannot just think of being at peace only with yourself. The question is, how can you be at peace with yourself when there are others who are having so much of distress and so much of angst and so much of suffering?
Very true.
There has to be something which we have to do about the social inequality factor.
That is true, yeah. And especially I've been born and brought up in India, and even here, sometimes we become so desensitized looking at the,
Yeah, so
this kind of
the whole idea of being exposed to social workers, whether it is the legendary Swami Vivekananda or whether it is Mother Teresa or Rabindranath Tagore, is that they inspire you and make you think as to where exactly life is taking you and what exactly are you doing with life. Once you reach that level, then you start scrutinizing as to how much more do you want to accumulate, how much more do you want to hoard, how much more can you be self-centered. Even when we talk of, let's say, yoga and meditation and whatever, finally it is the peace of the single person. How can you attain peace of that single person when the entire society is in distress or when there is so much of suffering around you? That is the question. So once that kind of a spark comes within you, then it continues. And then you feel like doing something for the underprivileged within society. I, being a psychiatrist, I and my wife have chosen this thing of doing something for the wandering mentally ill. Anybody else may choose something else, not that necessarily you need to do something about the wandering mentally ill. See, if you look at a guy like Gandhi, one of his favorite quotes was that whatever action you do, the decision should be, will it help somebody else? Will it bring dignity to his life?
Yeah.
Is it of any use to the last man standing? If it is of no use, then then the action per se is self-centered and motivated only towards your own good, which is not fair to the society around you.
Very true.
There are 6 lakh people who may try to get into IIT.
Yes.
Only 5,000 get in. Does that mean that the remaining 5,95,000 did not deserve to get in? No. Maybe perhaps luck was not with them, whatever XYZ. They may be equally good, equally brilliant, or perhaps more brilliant. On that particular day when the exam was there, perhaps luck did not favor them. That is the issue. So we have to realize that there is a certain element of luck which is also there in shaping our lives, and perhaps luck may not have played a part to the other person. We have picked up chartered accountants from the road. We have picked up qualified doctors from the road. We have picked up lawyers from the road. Now, the very fact that they have done law or they have done chartered accountancy, they were brilliant.
Yes.
Now, it's a matter of luck that they had the illness and they ended up on the streets.
Yes.
And you come across patients who are teetotalers, never had alcohol, never had cannabis, nothing. Even then they are on the road. So you have to realize that a great amount of inequality exists, which may be luck based, and we as a select few have to do something to bridge this social inequality.
Very, very well said. I'll say, especially thinking about our social responsibility, I'll say, we create a very comfortable environment around us, and we just do not brave out. So there are very few like Dr. Bharat Vatwani sir here who are doing it, and doing it with so much of passion, because if you see his TED Talks, you see his interviews, he still has the energy, he still has the passion, he still has that a drive to help anyone who comes to their center. I've seen that personally. So I know you also had, especially when you're working with the mentally ill destitutes, you have your personal bout with depression, and you've come out of it. What do you have to say about the stigma around mental health? You've been very open about it and how we perceive it in our country.
I feel that one refuses to acknowledge that one is fallible, that one is a human being, that one can get afflicted with both physical illnesses and mental illnesses. And because we deny to ourselves the existence of the mental illness within ourselves, we deny to others the existence of mental illness within them. You look at big shot actors, Robin Williams committed suicide,
Yes.
Sushant Singh Rajput committed suicide. So many people have committed suicide who are very well known. Now, you have to realize that this succumbing to darkness can happen in him, it can happen in you, it can happen in anybody else.
Yeah.
So would it not be appropriate that if it has happened to you, one, you acknowledge it, B, you acknowledge the fact that it could happen in somebody else, and C, you reach out and try and do something about it.
Very true.
You can reach out and try and do something about it only after you have acknowledged within yourself and you have acknowledged in the other person that look, this is the situation.
Very true.
While what happens is, if the person, like let's say a student, an IIT student, suddenly becomes withdrawn, people tend to leave him alone. People tend to, because they don't identify with him. While the truth is that you have gone through it yourself at some point in time. Depression at some point of time affects 50% of the population. That is statistically proven. Now, when it is affecting so many people, why don't you reach out and try and help that person? Why don't you try and help that schizophrenic person who's on the road? Why don't you try and help that anxious person who's on the road? Unless there is sharing, unless there is emotional sharing between us, society would come to a standstill. We are all social animals. So finally, at the end of the day, we are bound by emotions. The emotions which exist within us, the emotions which exist within other people. If these emotions are unable to connect, then there is a void. If there is a void, then the person is left more alone. If he is left more alone, the chances are either he triggers that entire pain into himself and commits suicide, or he triggers the entire pain into somebody else and may commit homicide, or may end up wandering on the streets. So one has to accept that thing.
Very well said, very well said. And I know the depression rates in IIT or engineering colleges, other professional colleges are going up.
Yes.
From 1 and 2.
Overall in society itself, I feel
the
incidence of depression is going up.
Going up because of the lifestyle change.
In fact, WHO has predicted that in 2030, which is just 6 years away, depression will be the second leading cause of death.
Oh, yeah, definitely, So that's why we have to be open and about mental health, listeners, because it, like he's saying, we all are emotional beings, and social beings. Share and find your own mentors and find your own safe spaces, I'll say. So that's very important. I know I've taken a lot of your time,
Not at all.
Doctor.
This is the
Okay.
end point of this talk.
Okay.
It's understood. I mean, people who are sensible enough will understand how to contribute and ways and
Absolutely.
means of contributing.
Yeah.
So
That's your
I don't want to put it in black and white.
I understand. I understand.
Yeah.
All I'll say is please do follow the work that Dr. Vatwani has done. The work speaks for itself, and know more about Shradha Rehabilitation Center. Like he's saying, the main gist of this talk was about helping, about your social responsibility, and giving space.
Your human responsibility.
Absolutely, human responsibility, and appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Best of luck, and have a wonderful US trip, Doctor. Thank you so much.
Yeah.